Alright, so this is part 2 of the video series for ACC 8A and 8B. This is actually the second part, 8B, for my CAD class, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of jump right into this. Again, our emphasis on this one is really the hole wizard. In this case, we really only have one. You could use your hole wizard to cut this top hole, but we're just going to go ahead and draw a circle and cut through. But your hole wizard will be for these two at the bottom, okay? Looking at this, first and foremost, our units for this part will be, again, a metric. So we'll start with the metric part, and then I'm going to go ahead and start on the right side plane, okay, or right plane here. And we're going to start this basically by starting to draw the outside edge here. Okay, we're going to get this all dimensioned up using the dimensions we see on this drawing. Again, I'm going to try to place them in the same spots that I see on this drawing so I can use my model items when I do this actual final drawing to turn in. We are then going to extrude this 20 millimeters, and again, that is because I see 34 minus 14. I'm then going to click on this right side face here. We will sketch this figure here with no circle. I will then extrude it out at 14. We are then going to hit the side face here, draw a 20 millimeter circle and get it centered up, cut extrude through all, and then we'll finish with our hole wizard for these two countersink screw holes. Okay, then we're going to get that mask properties, get this drawing done, print everything, and turn it all in. Okay, so with that said, let's get this started. So I get into my SOLIDWORKS. I'm going to start with a File, New. I'm going to go ahead with my metric part and say OK. I've got a new part. Here is my design tree. I'm going to start by going to the right plane and starting a new sketch. Now again, I'm going to use my line tool on this one, and starting at the origin, I'll start by going from the origin to my right, draw a vertical line up, come back to my left, draw down at an angle till I see that line that aligns me with my origin, left click and close. Hit my F key, centered everything up, and now I'm going to turn on my smart dimension and get things into place. So I'll start with this bottom line at 70 millimeters. This left vertical line will be 20 millimeters. This back vertical line will be 120 millimeters. And this upper line up here will be 40 millimeters. Now as you can see, SOLIDWORKS is happy. It's all black. It says fully defined in the corner. So now I can go into my feature toolbar under Extrude Boss Base and make this 20 millimeters. Hit my check mark. Okay. Now again, I want to make this brass. I don't want it in blue. So where it says material not specified, I'm going to right click. And I'm actually going to use my shortcut menu right here and just pick the word brass. All right, now I got my first step done. Good practices is going to get to save. So I'm going to do a Control S for save, shortcut. And with the caps lock on, I'm going to call this ACC8B _ my last name. And hit save. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to come over here, hit this face right here, and do a new sketch. I'm going to do a space bar and a normal to. And now with my line tool, I'm going to start in this corner here and trace along the top to this corner here, come down to the bottom, pull back to my left until I see that line, and then trace up back to the top. Hit my escape key. I'm going to go ahead at this point, add in one dimension, which will be from this top line to here. Bring it out to the front, to the left, 34 millimeters. I see it's fully defined by all black lines and fully defined here in the bottom corner. I'm then going to go ahead from here. I will go ahead and do a spacebar isometric so you can see this a little bit better. I'm going to go to Features, Extruded Boss Base, and type in 14. It's the total is 34. We already have the 20. I'll add on the 14. Make sure your merge result is checked on. If not, you're going to see two distinct parts, as you'll see a line right there. Okay, so now they look good right there. I am now going to go in this case and highlight this face right here. Starting new sketch, spacebar, normal to. Circle tool. Kind of eyeball the middle here. I'm just going to draw a small circle there and hit escape. Turn on my smart dimension tool. I'm going to add a 20 millimeter measurement to the circle. From the center to this side here will be 20. From this center to the top edge here will be 17. Okay, so we have 20, 17, and 20. I notice the circle is black. That tells me it's fully defined, but I also know from down in the corner it says fully defined. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and do again isometric, spacebar, features, extruded cut, and we'll do a through all and check. All right, now let's do a Control S to save so we don't lose this. So the next part is we need to go and add 2 countersunk holes. Okay, they're what countersunk holes are for screws. Okay, screws usually have like a little V cut on behind their where you twist them in. So these will have like kind of an angle size so they can sit flush on this surface. So this is going to be a countersink. All right. With that said, I'll go back into SOLIDWORKS, Features, Hole Wizard. Under my Property Manager, I'm going to look for the countersink, which should be the second box in the first row. I'm going to go ahead at this point, and I want to make sure my standard is matching my units. In this case, it should say ANSI metric since we drew this in metric. The type of thing that's going in here, just leave it as a flathead. Pretty much all the parts we'll end up doing in here would be with flathead screws. Every once in a while, maybe I'll tell you it's an oval head or a socket countersunk. We have a couple parts down the road when we get into some assemblies. Well, we use a socket countersunk cap head screw. Okay, but right now let's leave it flat. The size. So let's go over here and see if this tells me anything. Looking at this, I see 2 holes, diameter 11, through all, diameter 20 at 90 degrees. So I don't see anything with the sizing there. So it looks like what I'm going to do is play with the custom sizing so I can plug in these numbers. The 3 numbers I'm going to need to enter into this will be the 11, the 20, and the 90, and make sure that the end condition is through all. All right, so going back into this, let's go into Show Custom Sizing. And lo and behold, it defaulted to M10 for some reason. If yours didn't, that's okay. But what you need to do is make sure this box is 11, this box is 20, this box is 90. Now you'll notice I suddenly have another box here. The reason this one is showing up is because my end condition says blind when it should say through all. Okay, so I have my sizing, 11, 20, 90, and through all, a countersink screw head. I'm going to go to my Positions tab. It tells me to select the face I want to put the holes. I click on this face over here, and again, I'll do a space bar normal too so I can see this a little bit better. And I'm going to start by putting one over here to the left, and another one over here to the right, and then hit Escape 1 time. Now, from here, I'm going to turn on my Smart Dimension tool, and I'm going to start dimensioning these in place. Okay, so let's look at my dimensions here. So I want a 10 in height, 34 in between, 18 from this edge, and they should be horizontally aligned. So going back into my SOLIDWORKS, okay, I'm going to go here to this edge here and go 10. I'm going to go from center to center and go 34. From here to the right side will be 18. Hit Escape, and then Control key, hit the 2 centers, and I'm going to go horizontal. Okay, now with that done, I know now I'm good because it says fully defined right here. So with that said, I'll go and get real quickly a spacebar isometric so you can see this, and then I'm just going to hit my green check mark. Okay, now with that done, the part is finished, so I'm going to do a quick Control Save. I now want to find what the math of this part is, so I go to my Evaluate tab and my mass properties. According to this, it says it's 1224.80 grams. If yours is different, don't hesitate to raise your hand and ask a question or email me with a question. I can help solve where that potential mass may have gone wrong. Okay, I want you to print this, keep it, and put it at your desk. And now what we're going to do is take this part here and put it into a drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, New. We are again, like the other one, going to put it into a GHSB metric. say OK. And now the same exact setup we've been doing. I'm going to double click on this one here, start with my front view. Preview is checked on. Hidden lines are turned on, but my scale should be at 1:1, and right now it's showing me at 1:2, so I will go to Use Custom Scale, drop this down, and roll my mouse ball up to 1:1. I will then come out here, and I will drop one here in the left-hand corner, one above, one off to the right. I'm going to keep this one kind of towards the middle, and then one up here as an isometric view, and hit Escape. I will drag this down over here to this corner, maybe bring this over just kind of a little bit more, and then I'm going to go back into this one here, click inside this box, and I'm going to turn on some color, and then I'm going to highlight these black lines and hit Delete. Okay, so there are my views. Now, these are all good here. We're going to leave all these center lines on. That's good. Center marks are on. That's good. So now what I want you to do is go to your annotation toolbar. We are now going to come up here to the model items. And if you've done the previous part that we did 8A and followed this up, all this will already be set. But if you're doing this new, I'm going to drop this down to entire model. You want to make sure import items are on, and then make sure these 6 boxes are all checked on. Okay. Now, hit your check mark. All your dimensions drop in. Now, of course, they're not in the right spots, not all of them, so I'm going to have to do some moving. I see a couple up here that I'm going to have to actually left-click and delete on. I'll take this 20 here and kind of move it out. Maybe move this 40 up a little bit more. Okay, take the 17 and keep it a little bit closer. Take the 34 off with a delete. The 20 and 10 look good. I'm going to take this little note here. Now again, if this is on this one, just go ahead and pull it out this way. That is fine. The 70, 34, and 18 look good, but the 120 has to go away. Okay. I'm going to turn on my Smart Dimension tool and hit this top line here. Click on this line and pull a 14. Click on this line here for 34. And then from the very top to the very bottom, I'll make this 120. Okay, now again, you can make some, move some things around. I can move this back to the left a little bit, move this maybe up just a tiny little bit. That looks good. I have everything I now need in place. So all my dimensions are on the drawing. I am now going to go over to my PDF file and do a left-click drag on this title right here. Do a Control Copy. Come back over into my SOLIDWORKS drawing again. Turn on my note tool. Drop the note underneath this part and do a Control V. Highlight with a left click and a drag. Center. Oops, escape, sorry, double click back inside there, sorry. Left click and drag the top and make sure that's underlined. Double click these X's so that you can turn in, was it 1224.40? I forget. This is where you have to have that mass property sheet near you. Okay, so whatever that number is, put that in that spot. Do not forget to do that. Okay, so there is basically my completed drawing except for the title block. So I'm going to go over here and double click place title here. We are going to call this SWX for SOLIDWORKS part drawing space ACC 8B. Scale 1:1, drawn by your first initial last name. Today's date 01/22/21. Period, whatever class period, I'll just change this one from 3A to like 2A. Okay, and then check by myself. R period COMBS. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the page numbers on these right now. I'm going to do those when we get actually into our assembly views. Okay, but at this point, I'm going to do a quick Control Save, Control S. Yes, update the views before you save. Save it to where you saved your part. Hit Save. Then I want you to go ahead and file print this piece. I want you to take your mass property sheet and staple it to the upper left-hand corner here. Fold this in half and drop it into the collection box. Okay, again, use this video to your advantage. Pause, rewind, and use as many times as you need to. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Otherwise, good luck.